Many are still living in the darkness. Millions dying every day without any hope. Jesus told his disciples to preach the gospel. We are his disciples.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, we are his disciples. We should tell others the love of Jesus Christ. I'm glad this church is a part of the mission work for many years. Also, the church is supporting 10 girls in the orphanage, a children's home. We appreciate that. You know, some of you know about us, but I want to say one more time. Me and my wife came to this country to live here and make money, work here and make money and enjoy the things here. That's all we had in my mind. We both are born and brought up in Christian families. My parents and grandparents, all are Christians. We came to this country. We lived here for some time, almost 10 years. Then we decided to go back to India to preach the gospel. We didn't have to preach the gospel. We still like to stay here and enjoy the McDonald's and KFC. But we went back to India in 1977. We started training the preachers. We have 20 preachers working with us. Since 1977, we started 18 churches. Our churches are not big like this, or not many people as 50, 60. The maximum we have 100. But it's growing and faithful Christians. We face a lot of opposition and persecution. Nobody in America knows what is opposition to be a Christian or a persecution, because we live in a land of free. But India is a country, in Hindu country. They don't want us Christians to preach the gospel. So when we go to preach or even hand out a brochure or gospel tracts, they don't like it. Sometimes they will say, you cannot preach here. Sometimes they attack us. Sometimes we pass a gospel tracts to somebody, they take it and tear off and burn it. Yeah, that's even they burn the Bibles. So it's not easy. But we have 18 in churches and 20 preachers working with us. We have an orphanage we call Bethany Children's Home. 1981, we started with 5 girls. We had 2 years back, we had 141. It takes only $1 a day to keep a child there. I'm so thankful to Cauldron Church of Christ for supporting 10 girls in the orphanage. Appreciate your love and concern for the mission. This year we have 84 girls. You know, almost all the girls lived there became Christians. As we give them good food, good dress, good clothes, and send them to school. But every day, early morning, 5 o'clock, how many of you get up for devotion, 5 o'clock? They all come to the front room and sit there, sing 2 songs, read 2 portions of Bible, and pray. We have a devotion every day, morning and evening. Also, we have Sunday school and Bible study. That's why all these girls became Christians. Also, we have VBS every year. 2-3 years back, we had 700 children. This year, we had in one place, I said 750 people in one place. This year, we had 450 in that place, and we had 9 churches, we had VBS. Altogether, we had this year 1,088 children. Because we had less children because we had opposition. Some of the people doesn't want their children to come and hear about Jesus Christ. That's why they didn't send it. You all watch the news, and we had a bad flood this year. Monsoon rain for many, many weeks. And July and August, everything, torrential rain. And we had many damages. Many people died. We had still we have some places no electricity for 18 days. Can you believe that? 18 days, no electricity, no phone, no cell phone. We could contact any people there because the cell phone dead because there is no electricity. Many people died. And we have also some problem. One of our church parsonage going to show a DVD for a few minutes, only 20 minutes. After that, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Thank you.
India is an intriguing land filled with grand historic architecture and many things that are unfamiliar not only to Americans but to Indian citizens as well. The Indian people do have things in common with each other, but each of its 29 states has its own language, recipes, and customs. However, what is most important is that India is the home of over 1 billion people who need Jesus Christ as their Savior. Kerala state is on the west side of the southernmost tip of India. It is the nation's most densely populated state with 35 million people. Fishing and agriculture provide the main source of income for the people of this state. India is a predominantly Hindu nation. It is 80% Hindu and only 2.3% Christian. A larger segment of Kerala's population is Christian, 18%, but even here the Christians are continually aware that they are in the minority. The Hindu majority is not very tolerant of Christians. They passed laws that restrict evangelistic practices, but they have not shut the door completely. There are also militant groups that sometimes resort to violence, but they have not been able to stop the Lord's work. The purpose of Southwest India Christian Mission is to take the good news about Jesus Christ to the people of Kerala, India. Mission workers strive to share God's good news and lead people to Christ while trying to do things in a way that keeps everyone safe. This video will tell about the mission in general, describe its main ministries, and tell some of the accomplishments of the last year. John and Money Matthew founded the mission in 1977. They were both born in Kerala, India. Money is a registered nurse. John earned his Master of Divinity degree at Cincinnati Bible Seminary. Prior to meeting each other, they had both come to the United States with the intention of living here and enjoying the blessings that we have as Americans. However, after John completed his work at the seminary, they decided to serve the Lord in Kerala, India. There are 20 other preachers working with John. These men minister to approximately 1,800 people total in 18 congregations and oversee the other mission ministries. One half of the 18 congregations are located around Trivalla, and the other half in the high range about 100 miles away. John and Money's initial vision was to minister to the people of Kerala, and especially the poor of the state. The people of the High Range are poor even by Indian standards, and that is why about half of the churches are so far from John's house. In fact, the 100 miles only tells half the story. It takes 5 hours to drive to the nearest high-range church over 2-lane, winding, blacktop roads that are often not in the best condition. Every 6 months, a week of continuing education classes is held for the preachers and other church leaders. It gives these men the opportunity to grow and make plans for the future. We are thankful that several young men have been interested in the classes and in church leadership. Because of the persecution mentioned earlier, some changes have been necessary. For years, baptisms took place in rivers and lakes within open view of anyone who happened to be around. The crowd of Christian witnesses would cause people to look. As opposition to Christianity accelerated over the last decade, Hindu onlookers became more and more agitated, and now people are baptized in more private, safer places. Reopening of the Pushpekandam church building after monsoon storm damage is our most recent church building dedication. The property required a retaining wall, and the building includes a parsonage at the back. One room of the parsonage can be seen extending out from the back of the building. A kitchen and another room are directly behind the main building. This is the inside before the people entered. John Matthew started the dedication by unlocking the door and letting everyone in. The dedication service included singing and preaching. Also, honorariums were given to the men who constructed the building to express the congregation's thanks for their good work. In Kerala, the school year begins in June and ends in March, making April and May the months for VBS. The mission has VBS at Bethany Children's Home and at least 8 of its churches. The number of churches is only limited by cost. The children receive workbooks, songbooks, crayons, refreshments, and on the last day, lunch. The 2018 VBS at Bethany Children's Home went well, with over 400 in attendance. The girls from the home were there, along with other Christian children, but there were also Hindu and Muslim children from the area. In addition to Bethany Children's Home, VBS was held in 8 of the mission's churches. The total number of children that attended either at Bethany or one of the churches was 1,088. Lunch was provided for the children on the last day of the VBS sessions. This is John Thomas preparing chicken curry for the kids at the Bethany Children's Home VBS.
VBS.
VBS is one area where Hindu opposition has not been great, even though each session ends with a march through the neighboring streets. Youth camps are another effective way to teach children about Jesus. They are held at Bethany Children's Home and usually run for 4 days and nights, with the girls and women camp leaders sleeping inside the Bethany Children's Home gate. We'll show more about the home in the next segment. And the boys and men camp leaders sleeping in the multi-purpose building just outside the gate. The schedule is rigorous, starting at 5 a.m. each day, but the kids love the opportunity to sing, study, compete, and be together. The competition includes Bible quizzes, individual singing, group singing, and preaching. Pictures being shown are from the last youth camp in December of 2015. Youth camps have not been an annual activity because of the cost of food. The 2015 camp cost approximately $5,000 for 200 kids and 70 leaders. If anyone would like to help with the cost of a camp, the donation will be greatly appreciated. Another ministry that does not generate significant opposition is a home for orphans and children of families who are too poor to care for them. Bethany Children's Home is a place where the girls can escape abject poverty, find food, shelter, and love, and be taught about Jesus. At present, there are 84 girls being cared for at the home. The home was started in 1981. Since that time, over 2,500 girls have lived there. Approximately 25% of the girls have come from Hindu and Muslim families, and virtually all girls who have lived there have become Christians. The families know in advance that their girls will be taught about Jesus, and the parents are required to attend one of the missions churches while their child lives at the home. Kerala boasts 90% literacy, and the people are anxious to read anything that they can find. Everything the mission prints is for free distribution, including gospel tracts, hymnals, and study booklets. A correspondence course called Good News comes from this ministry, and hundreds of people have received certificates for completing the course. Also, every other month, a magazine called The Way of Truth is printed and mailed to over 2,700 people. The mission helps people out of compassion for their needs and because the Lord directed us to help those in need. Much of the help given through our community outreach ministry comes from supporter-designated gifts. Public education in India is free, but there are associated costs and fees that prevent many poor families from sending their children to school. School assistance for the poor makes it possible for some of these children to attend public school. With $50, the mission can provide material for 2 school uniforms, a belt, 20 notebooks, 2 pens, an umbrella, and a school bag. In this land of opposition toward Christians, the school assistance program generates a lot of goodwill toward the mission and its workers. Sometimes the mission is able to provide a small house with 2 rooms and a kitchen to a widow or other poor family. Many Christian families live in shacks that are especially unsafe during monsoon storms, but they don't have money to build a house. It is a great blessing for a family when we are able to help with this need. India is a land of monsoons that sometimes bring severe wind damage, flooding, and mudslides. Since Kerala's economy is mainly based on agriculture, many people are out of work when the weather-related disasters occur. During such times, we make the need known to our supporters and are able to help relieve the suffering with food and some medical supplies. The mission has a multi-purpose building known as Bethany Christian Chapel. The first floor has a large room in the front with 2 classrooms behind it. The large room is used for church services, area-wide conventions, and many other activities, but sometimes it just isn't big enough. We made the need known to our supporters and were able to add a 2nd floor to the building. That was several years ago, and as time went on, dirt from the road found its way to the sides of the building. For a while, pictures of the multipurpose building had to be touched up and some of the dirt erased, but the building received a new coat of paint and now looks great. Since some of you may know the Matthew family, here is a short update on John and Money's kids. Their daughter Becky and her husband Bobby John have 2 children. Hazel is in the 9th grade and Joshua is in his first year of college. He plans to become a doctor like his father. The family had been living in the neighboring state of Tamil Nadu, but in 2015 moved to Australia, where Bobby John is a cardiologist. Ben, John and Money's oldest son, and his wife Jessie live in San Antonio, Texas. He previously received a master's degree from Ohio State University in animal nutrition and is currently working as a veterinarian. Their son Mark celebrated his first birthday on March 17th of this year. Meeting Mark for the first time was part of the reason for John and Money's trip to the U.S. Bobby and his wife Chancel are both computer engineers. They live in Seattle, Washington, where Bobby works for Hewlett-Packard and Chancel works for Amazon. That completes an overview of the mission work. The following are some of the things that happened during the last year. The main thing that happened is the mundane daily activity of serving the 1,800 Christians that make up the mission's churches. Things like weekly sermons and Sunday school in each of the congregations, weekly calling in the villages around the churches, and cooking for the girls at Bethany, and having devotions with them twice a day. These aren't things that make a good video presentation, so they are just being mentioned and we can move on. From May 14th through the 20th, leadership training was held in the multipurpose building just outside the gate of Bethany Children's Home. 40 people were able to attend the full program, and another 6 attended some classes. The first and last days were only partial, but for the 5 days in between, everyone attending was together for the full day. This allowed considerable time for classes, planning session, and Christian fellowship. A new year started in June for the girls of Bethany Children's Home. Girls that had just completed their education returned home, and some new girls arrived to live at Bethany. For the 2017-2018 school year, there were 84 girls and 3 boys living at the home. The boys are all sons of kitchen workers there, and were all in the 2nd grade. Joseph Pinose, who is a friend of John Matthew, provides counseling programs in many schools all over Kerala. In the public schools, he presents films and discusses family problems caused by drugs and alcohol. In September, Joseph provided 2 days of counseling for the Bethany Children's Home girls. Joseph is a strong Christian man, and in addition to his regular counseling, he also shared the gospel with the girls. During the last quarter of 2017, several improvements were made at Bethany Children's Home. None of them were what every little girl dreams of, but they all improved the girls' lives and made the home a safer place to live. The cooks and kitchen workers now have a new refrigerator freezer. The old one was at least 13 years old, did not cool right, and had caused some food spoilage. A 10 kVA generator that starts automatically when the electricity is out was installed and ready for use just before Christmas. It was mainly installed for times during Kerala's dry season, our spring, when the reservoirs are low and the power company shuts electricity off for hours at a time. With the new generator, electrical outages should be a thing of the past. In fact, there have already been power outages in 2018, and the generator has been a great help. The new unit is adequate to power all the lights at the home, keep the new refrigerator running, and run the pumps on the water wells. A closed-circuit security camera system is now in operation. The system has 15 cameras covering the front gate, dining hall, dorm passages, areas where clothes are washed and dried, the cattle shed, and a few other places. The monitor shows all 15 areas at the same time, and the images are recorded. We hope there will never be a problem there, but if there is, the recorded images can be given to the police. Another improvement is a 4-foot fence above the railing that encircles the roof of the dorm building at Bethany. Over the last few years, India has seen a rash of young people committing suicide by jumping from the roofs of 3- and 4-story buildings for reasons that we would consider minor. We hope that no girl at Bethany ever considers such an action, but the fence is an effort to prevent it if one of the girls should ever feel desperate. Shortly after the dorm building was constructed, a secondary roof was installed on poles above the main roof to provide a place to hang and dry clothes, even in the monsoon season. Being out in the weather, this structure has seen corrosion in general, and the supporting posts were rusty and broken in places. The secondary roof has now been repaired and replaced as necessary. It had been getting to the point where it wasn't completely safe, but with the repairs, that is no longer true. That brings the year to an end, and also the presentation. On behalf of John and Money Matthew, I thank you for your faithful and generous support. Without help from Christians like you, the work in Kerala, India would not be possible.
Watching the DVD, I think you got an idea of what we do in Kerala with your prayer and with your financial support. Kerala is a small state. Kentucky is 3 times bigger than my home state. I think Kentucky only got 5 million people. We have 35 million people. So you can imagine how crowded. As half of the state was under the water, still under the water some places. People are staying in the roof of the houses, and many are staying in the shelters without food and clothes or medicine. Please pray for the state, and please for the Lord's help to help these poor people who are suffering. Not only poor, rich also lost everything what they have gained in their life, because heavy rush of art washed away everything, their houses, cars, and clothes, and fridge, you name it. I heard most of the houses were maybe 10 feet water in the houses. Almost everything is spoiled. Mud and rush to their homes. Many are trying to clean that houses now. It's a sad situation there. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Yes, sir.
Was your house affected by this flood?
No, my house is not affected. It was a little more higher elevation. Yeah. But maybe 300 yards, or that means 500 feet down, the water came. And many hospitals were under the water. Schools and colleges and all the offices, and I heard in the news 400 branches of banks were closed for 1 week. The schools and colleges not even open. They only open next month. So it was very bad. People, those who are living now, they never saw a flood like this. Okay, thank you for your attention. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your support for the mission.